Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do a day in the life of what my life looks like when I'm on summer. I finally finished my first year of law school. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in my last video. I honestly don't even know what the last video was about. This video is gonna be my summer internship. I also am taking this summer class thing for like very many scholarship that I got. That's what this vlog is gonna consist of. I'm about to leave to the metro, but this is what the layout of the day is gonna look like. So I hop on the metro, go to work, then during work today I have a Zoom meeting with one of my professors, and then after that I have to go to class. I usually leave work a little bit early and then I head home, change, go to class. Class lasts around an hour and a half or something like that, maybe 2 hours. I don't think it lasts 2 hours actually. I think class lasts around an hour and a half. And then after that I come home, eat, chill, and I also, tonight is the presidential debate, so I'm definitely gonna be watching that. I'm super excited to see, and there's always so much drama that comes out of that, so, and also because it obviously concerns the future of our country. And yeah, that's basically what I have going on today. And this is Mochi. Life has been amazing. I'm loving my internship. I'm loving law school. So happy that my first year is done. There's a little rhyme people say to describe law school. It goes, first year scares you to death, second year works you to death, and third year bores you to death. So first year has rung true. Let's go to the car. Disarmed. I usually drive my car to the metro and then leave it at the metro because driving to work is insane with this Miami traffic. I will say the metro has been really scary the first few times I've ridden it. It's gotten better now, but I think at certain hours when there's barely anybody on the metro, it gets more terrifying. I'm gonna drive to the parking spot. Currently 8:35, so I have a good amount of time because it takes around like 20-ish minutes for the metro to get to my stop. And then from there it takes like a brisk walk to get to my jobs. Hopefully I'll get to film a lot and show you guys what I do every day, but I'm not sure because I honestly don't know the filming policy in these areas. I'm gonna search it up actually because it should be public information. This is a little montage of my journey to work this summer. It's the path that I take almost every day. I tried not to include identifying things because I'm scared of people, but I unfortunately couldn't record my day inside the office/court just because it's literally not allowed, but hopefully you enjoyed this little montage. So I just got home from work and I changed and everything, but I'm gonna give you guys a little recap, a little day in my life recap of what I did today and kind of what my day-to-day looks like. Like I said in the montage, you're not going to be able to see what I'm actually doing throughout the day, unfortunately. I know that when I used to be a paralegal, I would record like days of my life and you could actually see what I was doing, things like that, which was really nice, but that's just because there was no privacy concern. I wasn't sharing case details. Also, like filming the office wasn't really an issue either. But where I'm working this summer, it's a little bit more complicated and more private, so I wasn't able to show anything in particular, but I can kind of give you a brief rundown of what I do. I work for a government agency, and in this government agency, I work under a supervising attorney. Every morning we go to court for calendar hearings, and at calendar hearings, you typically just talk about where you are in the case, talk about the charges, if anybody wants to change charges, if there is a plea agreement, if the defendant needs to say something, if somebody's pro se, then that'll be dealt with a different manner. But this is in criminal courts, by the way, but those are really, really interesting and they typically last a couple of hours. I mean, let me be real, they're not super interesting every single day. They were interesting like the first couple of times I did it, but after a little bit, you kind of get used to what goes on and the excitement wears off just a little bit because they're just regular hearings about the calendar. There's no juicy tea. We get into the courtroom at around like 9 to 9:30, but the judge actually shows up around 10, and then from 10 to 12, depending on the caseload that day, there would be around like 1 to 2 hours spent during the calendar hearings. Usually we end around lunchtime, so around 12. And then I head back to the office. I get my lunch, do my thing, and then at around 1, There are a bunch of different ways that our day could go. So like if the attorney that I'm with is gonna do a trial, then we go to that trial and he does his trial thing. That's very rare though, because it takes a long time to prep for trial, and not all the cases go to trial. But other times he'll have depositions in the afternoon. I can't really remember off of the top of my head the very niche things, but that's kind of what the day-to-day looks like. But today in particular, we went to court in the morning for the calendar hearing. After that, we came back to the office and we had a meeting with a certain person who's involved with the case. So it was really interesting to be able to see what their concerns were and see where the case was at, what the attorney could do. That was all really cool to sit in on. And then I had my meeting with my professor at 12 p.m. and I thought it was going to be on my essay, but it ended up being about like my career goals, where I see myself going, where I want to end up, like what my passions are, how I'm liking my placement this summer. That was very overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie, because everybody in law school does something a little bit different than everybody else. Like you could all collectively have the same goal of ending up somewhere, but in reality you kind of end up where you least expected. So it was a little bit stressful for me because I know that planning is important, but there's just a lot of competition, so that in itself is stressful. The deadlines are also really weird. Like some firms are recruiting starting now, like applications are open, and some firms don't open them until months later. Like it's just very all over the place, and it's stressful because people say that your 2L summer is like the job you'll probably end up with when you graduate. Whether or not that rings true for everyone, I'm not sure. I don't think it would. All I know is that for most students, that tends to be the outcome. So yeah, that was all very stressful, and also having to predict where I think I'm gonna be in like 2 years from now or even a summer from now is a little bit weird, because you can really never tell where you're gonna end up. At least me, I feel like no matter how much I plan, I think everything happens the way it needs to happen, and I don't really want to stress out about it because I know everything will work out. And I think that this meeting kind of caught me off guard and stressed me out a little bit. Overall though, I really appreciated the meeting because the people at my school are really helpful, and they actually care about your future. They want you to end up where you want to end up, and I love all of them. Like they're amazing people, and I know that I have a huge support system, not only like with my family, but also with the people at school. So it was a good meeting overall. I just tend to get stressed out very easily about like little stuff like that, especially things that are out of my control. And that's not to say my future is not in my control, but like to an extent it is out of your control. That was that meeting. And then after that, there were some depositions that were scheduled in the afternoon after lunch, like at 1 p.m. But there was this trial that was going on that I really wanted to watch the closing arguments, just because I love trial stuff. I love watching them any chance I get, especially if they're interesting. I know there's like a media case going on right now about a death penalty case. I was able to watch a portion of that case a little bit ago, I think like last week, but I didn't end up seeing the outcome, so I'm not sure what ended up happening. There are some crazy things happening in Miami. The wildest things that you could ever imagine. Before, I used to be really scared of the most ridiculous things, like, oh, somebody breaking into the house. And don't get me wrong, I'm still scared about that. Now that I've gotten experience in seeing what cases are actually out there in Miami, I know anything's possible, but I feel like the chances of somebody breaking into this house, and hopefully I'm not speaking this into existence, but I just think they're kind of slim. When I said that the chances are pretty slim, I didn't mean in general. Break-ins of houses happen every single day, so often. What I meant was that most of the cases that I've personally seen in this internship is that most crimes happen in high crime areas, and the house that I'm living in right now, thankfully, is not in a high crime area, so I'm not too concerned about it. I still take a lot of safety precautions, and I'm super paranoid about everything, but I think that when it comes down to sleeping at night, I can sleep a little better now that I've realized that I don't have too much to worry about, considering I'm not in a high crime area. But you never know, anything can happen, and hopefully nothing happens. But so they've really eased my worries. Today for my class, we're covering homelessness. It's going to be a presentation slash lecture by 3 people. They're gonna speak on homelessness, which I think is a really interesting topic. I've started to become more interested during my summer placement because there are a lot of homeless people in the courts that we're observing, and I feel for them a lot. And I just wish there was a solution to that issue in particular. There are a lot of homeless people are in Miami, so it's kind of hard to cater to them all. I kind of do want to continue doing my clay stuff before class starts and / during class and then during the debate, because I have a bunch of orders that I need to complete for people and they're not actual real orders. Because I just bought this clay and this is like my new passion. I want to become good at it. That's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm honestly not that hungry. I think it's because I chugged a whole bottle of Gatorade. It's currently a couple of days after, but I wanted to briefly mention what I did at work yesterday because I've never gone to see an autopsy before, and the place where I'm working does these really cool like mini experiences with different places. So yesterday I had the opportunity to go to the medical examiner's office to do autopsies, and when I was signing up for it, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. Like, I don't think that this would really benefit me. It seemed like the type of thing where I would probably faint or I would just not be okay. I personally don't know how anyone can become a doctor. I think that working around like open bodies kind of freaks me out. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be strong and I'm gonna go see an autopsy. I'm gonna go to the medical examiner's office, see their toxicology stuff, their photography, and learn a little bit about it, just because why not? Like, you don't get this experience every day. I was just encouraging myself to go and telling myself I'm gonna be okay. So many people do this every single year. It was at 9 in the morning yesterday. We went and it was a group of like 12 people. It was mostly girls. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be fine. Like, if there are this many girls right now doing this and aren't afraid of like what we're about to see, then I'm gonna be okay. When I parked, I immediately saw a car that was completely crushed. The only seats that were okay were the driver and the passengers. I was really sad to see because you don't know who was in the car. You don't know when the accident happened. You don't know if the people are okay, what their injuries were. I mean, they were at the medical examiner's office, so I assume they didn't make it. I didn't love my time there because it felt like people were glorifying like autopsies, and I understand that there's a lot to learn from them. I just felt, I don't know, I guess I was just too distracted by the fact that the reason why we're there is because somebody passed away and has to have an autopsy done on their body. So I was just thinking about so many families that have probably walked into this building to see photos of their loved ones, and I wanted to leave honestly from the moment I got there, but I was like, no, I can't. I signed up for this. So yeah, that was my experience. I'm not gonna get into details, but I was kind of okay when we saw the first autopsy because I was very far away from it and my vision is not the best. And then the second one I had to walk out and just sit by myself because I could not watch that. The rest of yesterday consisted of writing a memo for the attorney that's supervising me, and today will probably consist of the same thing. I think we have the rest of the week off because it's July 4th and July 5th. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you have an amazing day.